4 fallen angels chained beneath the Euphrates River for thousands of years. And right now, in February 2026, the cave where they've supposedly been imprisoned may be exposed for the first time in human history. On January 28, 2026, Syrian locals exploring newly dried sections of the riverbed near Deir ez-Zor discovered a massive cave entrance that had been completely underwater for as long as anyone could remember. When the first group entered with cameras and lights, they reported seeing iron chains embedded in solid rock, ancient symbols carved into the stone walls, and a chamber that seems to match biblical descriptions with unsettling accuracy. Because Revelation 9:14-15 specifically describes 4 angels bound at the great river Euphrates, waiting for the exact moment when they will be released to kill 1/3 of humanity. But before jumping to conclusions, here's what we can verify as fact. Right now, in February 2026, the Euphrates River is experiencing one of the worst droughts in recorded history. Water levels in many areas have dropped below 200 cubic meters per second, far lower than the 500 cubic meters that international water agreements recommend for stable flow. NASA satellite data from January 2026 shows sections of the river in Iraq have lost nearly 87% of their water volume compared to 2015 levels. Entire areas that were about 30 feet underwater just 5 years ago are now completely dry land. As the water disappears, it is revealing cave systems, ancient structures, and, according to several eyewitness reports, chambers that some believe resemble descriptions found in ancient prophecy. Now, let's look at what the Bible actually says about these 4 angels. Revelation 9:14 states, "Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates." Verse 15 continues, "And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men." According to many interpretations, these are not ordinary angels. They are often described as fallen angels, rebellious spiritual beings imprisoned until a future moment of judgment. And when they are released, the prophecy describes them leading an army of 200 million soldiers that brings massive destruction across the world. Here's an interesting historical detail. When the Apostle John wrote the book of Revelation nearly 2,000 years ago, the entire global population was far smaller than 200 million people. For centuries, scholars believed that number must have been symbolic or exaggerated. But today, the number suddenly seems less impossible. Modern nations, particularly in Asia, have enormous populations and massive military capabilities. Another verse often connected to this discussion is Revelation 16:12. "The 6th angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, to prepare the way for the kings from the east." In other words, the drying of the Euphrates is directly mentioned in biblical prophecy. Some researchers have pointed to environmental studies about the river's rapid decline. Water management projects, dams built in Turkey and Syria, climate change, and prolonged drought have all contributed to shrinking water levels. Several hydrologists have warned that if current conditions continue, parts of the river could become dramatically reduced within the next decade. Around the time the cave was reportedly discovered, local explorers described what they saw inside. According to accounts shared online, the main chamber descends deep beneath the dried riverbed. The walls appear smooth, almost polished, with large iron rings embedded into the stone at evenly spaced intervals. Each ring is said to measure several feet in diameter, constructed from a metal that looks extremely old. Some witnesses claimed the metal appeared heavily stressed or worn, as if something powerful had once been pulling against it. Carved into the cave walls were symbols that resembled ancient Mesopotamian writing. Some people claim the symbols reference early myths about imprisoned divine beings. Ancient Mesopotamian texts sometimes describe rebellious spiritual entities who were punished and confined beneath the earth. Some biblical scholars connect these legends with references in Genesis about mysterious beings known as the Watchers or fallen angels. Of course, archaeologists caution that such interpretations are highly speculative, but the cave descriptions sparked intense debate online.
Local guides who reportedly entered the caves claimed the temperature inside dropped significantly compared to the outside desert heat. Some even claimed they heard faint sounds deeper within the tunnels, though those accounts remain unverified. Leaked photographs circulating on social media appear to show a large central chamber with 4 alcoves positioned around it. Each alcove reportedly contains massive chain-like structures anchored into the rock. Some observers have even suggested that one of the alcoves appeared damaged or partially broken. However, none of these images have been independently confirmed by scientific teams. Shortly after the discovery, rumors began spreading. Local authorities reportedly restricted access to the cave area, citing safety concerns and the need for official archaeological study. At the same time, the region has experienced minor seismic activity. Small tremors have been recorded across parts of Iraq and Syria in recent months, something geologists say can occur naturally as dried riverbeds shift and underground water systems change. Still, the coincidence has fueled speculation. Some prophecy researchers argue that the combination of events, the Euphrates drying up, newly exposed underground structures, and geopolitical tensions in the region, could match signs mentioned in biblical end times passages. Others strongly disagree, pointing out that ancient caves, temples, and ruins are extremely common throughout Mesopotamia. Geologists say the chains could be part of an ancient prison or ritual structure. Archaeologists say the inscriptions could simply be remnants of Babylonian religious traditions, and the seismic activity could easily be the result of natural geological stress as the river continues to shrink. Extraordinary claims, scientists say, require extraordinary evidence. Still, many questions remain unanswered. Why would such large metal rings exist deep beneath the riverbed? Why does the chamber appear structurally dry despite being underwater for centuries? And what exactly do the symbols carved into the walls represent? Until professional excavations take place, the true explanation remains unknown. But one thing is certain: the Euphrates River really is shrinking faster than at any point in modern history. Ancient structures are being revealed as water levels drop, and for many people around the world, these discoveries are raising serious questions about ancient prophecies and whether they could one day intersect with real events. So the real question becomes this: are these discoveries simply the result of environmental change uncovering forgotten ruins? Or could they represent something far more mysterious, tied to ancient texts and beliefs? For now, the answer remains uncertain. But as the waters of the Euphrates continue to recede, more of the past is being exposed, and with it, new questions about what might still lie hidden beneath the surface.